We gotta read it. We gotta read it. Trump derangement syndrome strikes Fort McCoy. Where the fuck is Fort McCoy? It's a Wisconsin training base. No wonder I've never heard of that place. Alright. Well, Madison, Wisconsin. The U.S. Army has suspended a Wisconsin training base's first You motherfucker. What is this? No! Wisconsin training base's first female commander after discovering portraits of President Donald Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had been flipped around to face the wall. So, like, you just turn them around so no one could see the faces. You know, you would think that as the base's first female commander that you would do everything in your power, everything within your will, right, to not fuck this up, because you're the first female commander, right? Which means you're a trailblazer, which means everyone looks at you and you're so high ranked that the buck stops with you. So you acted like a whack-a-mole 19-year-old college kid, and you're paying the price for it. This isn't you don't do this as a military service member. That's one thing that that was hard for me to get used to whenever I joined the service as well. Freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Guess what? When you're in the service, you don't have it. And it took me a long time to get used to that. I hated it. It took me a long time to wrap my head around that. When you're in the service, you don't have free speech. You don't have freedom of expression. You don't do this shit, man. At the end of the day, you're not even a person, man. You're a number. So, and what do they say, man? And what do we always say in the military? Don't draw attention to yourself. You drew massive attention to yourself in the worst way. And basically, everyone that pretty much said that you didn't belong in that position, guess what? You just proved them right. Can't have no fucking female at this as leader of this training base. Hell no. For what? And then they give it to you, and you do this. Way to represent for women. That's great. The Army has posted an undated statement on Fort McCoy's website saying Colonel Shayla Baez Ramirez, Hispanic girl, of course, has been suspended as the base's garrison commander. The statement said the suspension isn't related to any misconduct, but provided no other details, saying the matter was under review. It's unbecoming of being an officer. If you want to be an E4 and do this shit, by all means, that's E4 behavior. You are a base commander. You're supposed to be the epitome of professionalism, regardless how you feel on the inside. And you can't be professional. You gotta go. That's it. When I was in the service, I despised President Obama. I didn't act out. I didn't do stupid shit like this, okay? I served under President Obama. I hated that guy. I still hate that guy. Garbage, right? So, but I didn't go out of my way to put myself out there, make myself known, expose myself, and get in trouble. Because, for what? What was the purpose? What was the point? What did you even really accomplish by doing this? Nothing. You're just a really mad little girl that couldn't control her emotions. I'm not going to call you a woman, that's for sure, because this isn't woman behavior. You're a little girl with way too much rank. That's crazy. The Department of Defense on April 14th posted photos on X showing portraits of Trump and Hegseth on the base's chain of command wall had been turned to face the wall, along with photos showing that they had been flipped back to face the corridor. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we read a story where the drill sergeant school of the Army, someone had taken upon themselves to fill a void photograph frame, right? So the picture that was the frame that was supposed to have Donald Trump, no one had updated that yet. And that's the chain of command's job. That's like higher command. That's their job, man. Officers, and they do all that stuff, man. Sergeants, lower enlist. That's not our deal. We don't do that. That's not our responsibility to hang shit up on the wall, right? And someone didn't update Donald Trump's photo. So somebody, I'm assuming a drill sergeant, it had to have been an NCO. There's no way I don't think it was an officer that did this. But they took it upon themselves to draw a caricature of Donald Trump that kind of looked like Donald Trump, but also kind of looked like a Simpsons character. And they put it in lieu of what was supposed to be there, the real photo of Donald Trump. And while it was fuck games, and while it was like, what the fuck you doing, man? This is drill sergeant school. It was still funny. And hey, that's up to the chain of command. That's your problem. You should have replaced that photo because you left it open to the E4 Mafia. You left it open to fuck games. And when you leave something open to fuck games, guess what we as soldiers are gonna do? Oh, we're gonna oblige. But no one really looked at that as a big deal. They were just like, hey, drill sergeant, stop fucking off. That was funny, but quit fucking off. This is worse. This is worse. Because you're higher ranked than everyone at drill sergeant school. Like a base commander, you're that person. You're that guy. You're that lady. You're the one, right? So to be acting like this, that's cringe. Baez Ramirez assumed the role of garrison commander at Fort McCoy in July 2024 after serving as chief of the reserve program, U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. So you have a pretty good career. You've had some pretty good jobs throughout the service, throughout the military. And you drag your own name through the mud. For what? For Donald Trump. For real. For Donald Trump. You threw it away for Donald Trump. That's... Don't understand. I don't understand people that do that. They'll throw away their job because of Trump. They'll throw away a relationship because of Trump. They'll throw away a husband, a wife, fucking money, security, their freedom for Donald Trump. She was commissioned as a military intelligence officer through the Reserve Officer Training Corps in 1999 and holds a bachelor's degree in psychology, mental health. Isn't that ironic? Because it takes somewhat of a mentally ill person to do what she did. Really. You're not okay, dude. Out of all of your responsibilities and daily duties that you have to do as a base commander and all of these titles that you've held, I would assume that you were a very busy ass woman, and for you to take time out of your schedule to do something this petty? Dog, what? Talk about psychology, holy shit. She holds numerous citations and decorations, including the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, and the Korean Defense Service Medal. Lots of soldiers hold that one. It ain't just you, really. Those seem fairly basic. You went to Korea. Cool. So did my dad. She has served as Chief of Operations of the U.S. Army Reserve Command at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. That's one hell of a job. Deputy Commander of the 501st Military Intelligence Brigade, and Deputy Chief of the Special United States Liaison Advisor, Korea, at Camp Humphreys in the Republic of Korea. So she did all that. I just basically read you her resume. She did all of that just to get suspended for some stupid shit that don't matter. Fort McCoy is a 93 square mile training base in the far western Wisconsin countryside. It has been in operation since 1909. That's a really shitty way to end the story. I don't give a shit how big Fort McCoy is. You just end this. Who wrote this?